would talk about a child like that in a public forum makes you a disgusting human being.
I might be. I'm just an honest human being.
All right, what do we have? And you don't have popcorn ready?
I have popcorn ready.
It was good. My apple seeds are all lined up in a row.
Jim Acro, age 11, 12, a second place, platinum score.
I will explain the gossip. Never miss this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Kathy has always had a thing for poking the bear, and that bear has always been Abby Lee Miller. But in part 5, her tactics reached new extremes. Kathy wasn't just aiming to win. She was aiming to humiliate Abby, and she was willing to drag every ALDC girl, mom, and costume into the fire. Her strategy this time? Recruiting dancers from around the country, and even poaching ALDC defectors to build her dream team. With each competition, Kathy's obsession with beating Abby got more personal, and her determination to dethrone the LDCs turned into a full-blown vendetta. And Kathy didn't stop at assembling a new team. No, she went full villain mode. She showed up at ALDC events uninvited, sent spies, and gave the cameras exactly what they came for. Drama so explosive it left Abby screaming, storming, and spiraling. Let's not pretend Abby was the only one losing it. The ALDC moms were barely holding it together as Kathy's antics escalated. Holly tried once again to stay above the fray, but even she couldn't resist throwing some serious shade when Kathy accused Nia of being the weakest link. Christy fired back with one of her signature eye rolls and the kind of deadpan sarcasm we all live for. Melissa, ever the peacemaker until her girls are dragged into it, had no choice but to speak up when Kathy made a dig at Maddie. Kathy had implied that Maddie's wins were less about talent and more about Abby's favoritism. That's when Melissa's mama bear came out. And then there's Jill. Oh, Jill. She stormed into this episode in her fur vest like she was walking a runway and walked right into a shouting match with Kathy. It started with a sarcastic comment about Kendall being forgotten in group dances and escalated into Kathy calling Jill a stage mom with no chill. If there was a trophy for throwing verbal punches, Jill would have won it. Let's talk about the actual dances. For all the chaos behind the scenes, Kathy's team was determined to impress on stage, and they had the talent to back it up. The group routine this time? A dramatic, edgy number titled The Puppet Master, which was clearly a not-so-subtle jab at Abby's alleged control over her dancers. And guess what? It actually slayed. The Candy Apples technique was sharp, the concept was theatrical, and the choreography, courtesy of Kathy's guest choreographer, was intentionally dark and intense. The audience loved it, and even Abby had to admit, through gritted teeth, that the Candy Apples had improved. But Kathy didn't stop at one good performance. She brought in new soloists, including a confident contemporary dancer who had trained with multiple studios and apparently had a score to settle with Abby. The solo, No Strings Attached, was filled with pointed symbolism, including a segment where the dancer literally cut invisible puppet strings on stage. Subtle? No. Entertaining? Absolutely. Still, it wasn't all standing ovations. One Candy Apple duet missed its mark entirely, with the judges noting awkward transitions and clunky lifts. Kathy blamed the choreography. The choreographer blamed the kids. The kids looked like they wanted to disappear. Classic Candy Apple disaster. As expected, Abby Lee Miller was not taking any of this Candy Apple chaos in stride. From the second Kathy appeared at the competition venue, Abby's stress level spiked. Her mood soured even before the first routine hit the stage. At rehearsal, Abby was already spiraling. She was yelling at the girls, snapping at the moms, and threatening to pull solos left and right. And when she found out what Kathy's theme was, the Puppet Master, Abby nearly lost her mind. Is she kidding me? Abby shrieked. Is that supposed to be about me? She is obsessed. The pressure to outdo Kathy manifested in typical Abby fashion, yelling, insults, and overcorrections. Poor Kalani, who had just been given a lyrical solo the night before, was told to completely rethink her entire character 20 minutes before competition. And yet, when Kalani hit the stage, she delivered. Her solo, titled Glass Heart, was elegant and full of emotional depth, a direct contrast to Kathy's intense theatrics. Abby finally smiled, but not for long. Kathy was already backstage waiting with a smug grin and another snide comment. What's a Candy Apple's flashback without at least one full-blown hallway screaming match? Part 5 delivered, and then some. Kathy and Abby came face to face again backstage, and it was instant combustion. You're just mad because you're losing control, Kathy snapped, poking the bear. And you're just mad because you'll never be me, Abby hissed back. The moms tried to pull Abby away before it got uglier, but Kathy got in one last jab. At least I don't treat my dancers like disposable dolls. The camera panned to Gianna looking like she wanted to melt into the floor. The insults didn't stop there. Kathy, ever the queen of pet names, referred to the ALDC team as Abby's army of yes men. Abby, not missing a beat, called the Candy Apples dollar store dancers and designer knockoffs. Harsh? Yes. Hilarious? Also yes. This episode also introduced a few new faces on the Candy Apples team, and they came in hot. One mom in particular, let's call her Dawn, made an unforgettable first impression by trying to confront Abby before the competition even started. Her daughter was good, talented, flexible, and stage-ready, but her mom's attitude immediately put her on Abby's radar, and not in a good way. Dawn accused Abby of creating a toxic environment, which of course set Abby off. Abby clapped back with a dismissive, "Then don't watch. Go home and knit," before walking away mid-sentence. Kathy, meanwhile, welcomed Dawn and her daughter with open arms, promising that Candy Apples is where the Real stars come to shine. The producers clearly knew what they were doing, adding another mom with a vendetta to Kathy's already overstuffed drama squad. When it came time for results, tensions were so thick you could slice them with a stiletto. The ALDC group number, Shattered Reflection, was haunting, dramatic, and technically sound, but slightly underwhelming compared to their usual jaw-dropping routines. The Candy Apples Puppet Master, it earned a high score, shocking Abby and delighting Kathy. But that wasn't the gag. The gag was the audience reaction. Half cheered, half booed, and Kathy blew kisses to the judges like she had just won the Olympics. Meanwhile, the ALDC moms were fuming. Jill muttered, "This is rigged," under her breath. Holly tried to keep the peace, while Christy loudly reminded everyone that Kathy's team is built on spite and gimmicks. When Kathy's soloist also scored higher than Kalani, Abby's reaction was immediate and classic. She stormed out of the venue, screaming, "I'm done," while the camera followed her into the parking lot. Kathy sends a spy into ALDC rehearsals. It wouldn't be a proper Candy Apple showdown without a little sneaky sabotage, and in Part 5, Kathy steps into full soap opera villain mode. Here's what went down. Word spreads that someone has been leaking Abby's choreography before competitions. Abby is fuming, accusing certain people of watching her rehearsals and stealing ideas. And who does she immediately point the finger at? Kathy, of course. Melissa is the first to ask, "Wait, is she really spying on us now?" Christy, never one to hold back deadpans, "Oh honey, she's probably in the vents with binoculars." Rumors fly that Kathy sent a parent, someone who claimed to be scouting studios for their kid, into the ALDC as a guest, only for them to report back to her. Abby flips out, yelling about traitors and threatening to ban outsiders from the building. Did Kathy really plan a spy? No one can prove it. But the timing is suspicious, the drama is top tier, and honestly, it wouldn't be the first time. At the next competition, Kathy debuts a dance that has everyone talking. The Candy Apples perform a routine titled The Puppet and Her Master, and yes, it's even more pointed than the last one. This time, there's a character in full Abby-style hair and outfit, barking orders at dancers on stage. The message is loud, clear, and petty as ever. The crowd gasps. The moms lose it. Abby? She looks like she's about to spontaneously combust. "This is harassment," she declares backstage, turning beet red. "I should sue." Even Gianna is speechless. "They're literally making fun of you on stage, Abby." But here's the kicker. The number scores well. Really well. The judges eat up the boldness and commitment to character. Whether they realize it's a parody or not is unclear, but Kathy is beaming ear to ear. Backstage, she shrugs and tells the cameras, "If the shoe fits, wear it, even if it's an angry dance shoe." Just when the ALDC moms think things can't get worse, Kathy introduces a new candy apple mom, and she's a walking, talking thunderstorm. Enter Monica, a former Abby fan-turned-Kathy loyalist, who claims her daughter left ALDC because Abby was destroying her confidence. Monica arrives with a stack of receipts and a suitcase full of resentment. She immediately gets into it with Kira, accusing her of kissing up to Abby to keep Kalani on top. Kira doesn't even blink before firing back. At least my daughter earned her solos. Monica versus the moms becomes its own subplot, complete with name-calling, side-eye, and a near-physical altercation that producers have to shut down. Abby watches it all from a distance, sipping her Diet Coke like it's tea. Meanwhile, back at the ALDC, the pressure is weighing heavy on Kendall. Abby has decided that this is the week she needs to prove herself or be replaced in the group number. Harsh. Always. Kendall's assigned a jazz solo called Cold Shoulder, a dance about betrayal and being left out. Ironic, considering Abby is the one threatening to cut her from everything. Jill is panicking, doing her usual over-the-top mom routine, pacing, crying, whisper yelling backstage. During rehearsal, Kendall breaks down in tears. "I don't know what she wants from me," she says. It's never enough. Even the moms, who don't usually sympathize with Jill, come to Kendall's defense. Holly gently suggests Abby take it easy. Abby snaps back. Maybe she's not cut out for this. But Kendall, as always, delivers. Her solo is fierce, emotional, and technically clean, and when the crowd cheers, Abby finally gives her a nod of approval. "That's the Kendall I want to see," she mutters. Progress? Maybe. While ALDC is managing to hold it together under pressure, things at Candy Apple's HQ are not so calm. With Kathy pushing harder than ever, her dancers are beginning to buckle. One of her soloists, Ava, forgets a key section of choreography during rehearsal, and Kathy goes ballistic. She calls the routine a train wreck and tells Ava's mom, "If your daughter doesn't get it together, I have 5 more who can take her spot." Yikes. The pressure, the tension, and the endless rivalry with Abby are clearly wearing everyone down. Ava's mom nearly pulls her from the number. Kathy threatens to cut both of them. It's a full-blown standoff until Kathy finally backs off, but the damage is done. This kind of intensity is exactly what Kathy used to mock Abby for. But now, she's becoming the very thing she claimed to hate. With everything on the line, Abby decides to fight fire with fire, and she choreographs a revenge dance of her own. Titled Rise Above, the ALDC group number tells the story of overcoming manipulation and breaking free from control. Sound familiar? It's a clear clapback to Kathy's Puppet Master numbers. Kalani leads the routine with stunning emotion, and the choreography is classic Abby. Tight formations, dramatic lifts, and intense moments of stillness that leave the audience breathless. Backstage, Abby calls it the most personal dance I've ever done. She tells the girls, "You're not just dancing for a trophy, you're dancing for every time they've disrespected us." The performance earns a standing ovation, even from some of the Candy Apple moms. Kathy? She refuses to clap, muttering, "Overacted and overrated." But the judges disagree. ALDC takes home the top group score. Abby celebrates with a rare moment of grace, simply saying, "That's how you silence the haters." Just when we think it's over, Part 5 hits us with a twist. Rumors had been swirling all episode that an ex-ALDC dancer might be returning, but no one knew who. That is, until Kathy walks into the competition with Vivienne by her side. That's right. Vivi is back. And this time she's actually competing. The Candy Apples announced that Vivi will be performing a solo at the next event, a jazz number titled, "I'm Not That Girl Anymore." The title alone sends the moms into a frenzy. Is she trying to say she's better now? More mature? Out for revenge? Whatever the message, Abby doesn't care. She couldn't point her feet 5 years ago, and I doubt she can now, Abby scoffs. But the audience? They're here for it. In true Dance Moms fashion, the episode ends not with dancing, but with yelling. Abby and Kathy come face to face in the hallway. The topic? Everything. The spying. The parody routines. The stolen dancers. The comeback kid. "You're pathetic," Abby sneers. "You don't build, you poach. That's not a studio. That's a circus." Kathy fires back with one of her all-time best lines. and yet you never win when it counts. Maybe I'm the ringmaster, and you're just another act. Security has to intervene before it gets physical. Again. And just like that, part 5 fades to black. Not with resolution, but with more fuel for the fire. Vivianne's return shakes the ALDC to its core. The real plot twist of part 5 came when Vivienne Stein, yes, that Vivi, returned to the stage. She may have once flopped a broomstick routine and confused left from right, but she's back, she's rehearsed, and shockingly, she delivers. Her solo, I'm Not That Girl Anymore, was Kathy's full-on rebranding of Vivi from background joke to comeback queen. Kathy coached her through the number with the same intensity she usually reserves for Abby arguments, and Vivi actually performed with more passion than we've ever seen. The ALDC moms didn't know what to do with themselves. Jill said, well, she actually danced. Christy muttered, that's new. And Abby? Abby nearly choked on her own fury. She's using Vivi as a tool, Abby snapped. That poor kid's just a pawn in Kathy's game. But Kathy didn't care. She stood by that stage like a proud pageant mom and clapped loud enough to drown out the haters. While Kathy was busy coaching up her daughter, Abby was losing it over a feather. Yes, a feather. It all started when Nia's solo costume arrived late and in the wrong color. Abby flipped. I asked for royal blue. Not this periwinkle disaster. She stormed out of the costume fitting, yelling about incompetence and sabotage. Melissa tried to calm her down. Holly tried to defend the designer. Neither worked. And when Abby saw that one of Kathy's dancers had a nearly identical headpiece to Maddie's, that was it. They're copying us again. Abby screamed. How many times do I have to say it? Kathy has no original ideas. She then ripped a rhinestone strap off a dress, declared the competition rigged, and marched out of the room saying, if we don't win, blame the feathers. Gianna just stood there, blinking, holding a hot glue gun. Kathy clearly came into this episode with a theme, and it was war. Her group number, Caged Birds, featured her dancers in black leotards and silver chains, symbolizing kids who feel trapped in controlling environments. The clear implication? Abby's dancers are the caged birds. The dance was modern, intense, and full of sharp movements, and Kathy hyped it up like it was Broadway. We're not here to copy. We're here to expose. Abby watched from the wings, clutching a score sheet like it was a stress ball. They're so dramatic, Abby scoffed. This is a high school production of Les Mis at best. But here's the tea, the dance was actually good. Strong concept, decent technique, and excellent performance quality. The judges applauded the theme, even if the message was heavy-handed. The candy apples were coming for blood. Not to be outdone, Abby crafted a dramatic number of her own. If Kathy wants symbols, we'll give her something she can interpret, she said. Thus, the group routine Mirror Mirror was born. A sleek, lyrical piece featuring mirrored props and layered choreography about duality, reflection, and perception. The girls crushed it. Kalani delivered spins that looked effortless. Nia held center stage with power. Kendall actually looked confident for once. Maddie, of course, gave a performance that felt like it belonged on Sidict. The judges were locked in. The audience gasped. Abby even cracked a smile, and that never happens during awards. Just when ALDC thought they had the upper hand, Kathy unleashed the ultimate move, a giant mechanical apple. You read that right. For her next number, Kathy's dancers entered the stage with a massive red apple prop on wheels. It opened mid-routine, revealing a dancer inside. The song? Poison Fruit. The message? Abby is the snake in the garden. It was petty. It was theatrical. It was exactly what Kathy lives for. The crowd lost it. The moms were flabbergasted. Abby's face? Absolutely priceless. She's a cartoon character, Abby said. I feel like I'm in a SpongeBob episode. But here's the real gag. The number didn't score well. The judges loved the creativity but felt the dancing was secondary to the spectacle. Still, Kathy looked proud. Art isn't always understood by the narrow-minded, she sniffed. We're ahead of our time. No Candy Apple episode is complete without a Jill versus Kathy explosion, and Part 5 delivered another classic. It started when Kathy snarkily congratulated Kendall for finally placing. Jill clapped back with a passive-aggressive, At least she placed because of talent and not because of props. Kathy responded by calling Kendall forgettable. Jill lost it. There was pointing, yelling, and Kathy accusing Jill of spending more on wardrobe than on training. "Don't come for me unless you want me in your face," Jill snapped. "Sweetheart, your face is the problem," Kathy deadpanned. Producers stepped in before it got physical, but the damage was done. Jill was red-faced. Kathy walked away smirking. And somewhere in the back, Vivi was just eating a granola bar. Amid all the chaos, something strange happened. Melissa and Christy had a moment. After Kathy insulted Maddie and Chloe in the same sentence, the two OG frenemies teamed up for a rare joint eye roll. "Why does she talk about our girls like that?" Melissa asked. "She's obsessed," Christy replied. They shared a look. A pause. A sip of water. For 5 whole minutes, they were not fighting. The world briefly stopped spinning. Of course, the moment passed when Melissa tried to bring up Maddie's score, and Christy accused her of bragging again. But hey, progress. The tension at awards could be cut with a sparkly jazz shoe. Everyone wanted to know, would Kathy's giant apple beat Abby's mirror dance? Solo awards came first. A Maddie took first with Flicker. A Vivi placed third, a big win for Kathy. A Kalani scored second, and actually smiled during the announcement. 4 group dances. ALDC's Mirror Mirror scored first overall. Candy Apple's Caged Birds took second, just behind. A Kathy's prop-heavy Poison Fruit didn't even place top 5. Abby was smug. Kathy looked stunned, but recovered quickly. "We're not here to impress them, we're here to express ourselves," she said through gritted teeth. The ALDC celebrated backstage. Kathy fumed in a corner, pretending not to care. And Abby? She held that first-place trophy like it was a personal victory in her lifelong war against the candy apples. Just when you think the episode's over, Kathy drops a final twist. She's bringing in a new choreographer, and not just any choreographer, but an ex-ALDC associate. The moms are stunned. Abby's face goes pale. "You're kidding me," she says. "Who is it?" The episode cuts off before revealing the name, but the teaser shows Abby screaming in the parking lot and a blurred-out silhouette walking into the Candy Apple studio. Cue the ominous music. Cue the producer gasps. Cue the next-level drama. By the end of Part 5, one thing is clear: this rivalry is never going away. Kathy doesn't just want to beat Abby anymore. She wants to unmake everything Abby's built. From the mockery in her choreography to the full-on prop warfare, Kathy is no longer playing games. She's rewriting the rules. And as Abby gets more unhinged, the moms get more divided, and the competitions get more cutthroat, we're left wondering, who's actually winning? Because at this point, the real victory belongs to the fans, and to the editors who managed to squeeze this much wild energy into one episode.